Sorry, am I wasting your time?
Yeah.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the most brutal Cunk clips.
When are they going to translate Jane Austen's books into proper English? You know, from like ancient English.
Number 10. The Romans.
Where did the Romans come from?
To begin with, they came from Rome, and then they came from the Roman Empire.
Right, but where in Britain did they come from?
One of our favourite things Cunk frequently does is stubbornly telling an expert they're wrong about their own field. In this interview, she's asking novelist and historian Tom Holland about Roman Britain.
Right, well, this is about the history of Britain, so where in Britain did they come from?
Well, the Romans came from Rome, and they headed northwards and conquered most of Europe.
She's not at all impressed by the idea that Romans weren't British, confusing Holland with her intentionally dim-witted response. Another notable example of savagery towards a Roman expert occurred when she created a trivia quiz for Dr. Nigel Spivey. It's impressive how much patience these scholars have for Cunk, who is about as patronising as an interviewer can be.
Roads.
Well, the roads were invented by Persians, and plenty of people knew about roads.
Right, you're worried anyway, you can't answer that one.
All right.
Number 9. Most political thing.
What's the most political thing that's ever happened in Britain?
I'm not sure. I think.
You're probably already familiar with Robert Peston, who is the political editor for ITV News and also hosts the political talk show Peston.
There are definitely degrees of.
Cunk has interviewed him quite a few times, and in every one, each question looks like it's noticeably reducing Peston's lifespan.
There are lots of things that are straightforwardly political, and then there are other things that are not. They're sort of halfway, I guess.
The hardest for him to ever answer was this absurd question, which he was pondering for ridiculously long. It took him so long that Cunk completely checked out, not caring at all for his response. Finally, you can see something inside of him die when she asks her follow-up question.
I genuinely can't identify the most political.
Second most.
Number 8. Soviet Union.
What was the Soviet Onion?
Well, I think you're labouring under a misapprehension, and you probably mean the Soviet Union.
No, it's onion. I saw it on a bit of paper earlier.
Well, that's probably been misspelt, or you can't read very well.
Something we love seeing in a Cunk show is when she intentionally butchers reading a word, then doubles down when the expert points it out. One example comes from her discussion with historian Ashley Jackson.
But I think that you mean in historical terms the Soviet Union, or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
I don't want to be rude, but I think you're mansplaining a bit. Can we stick to the topic of the Soviet Onion, please?
Cunk insists it's the Soviet Onion, not Union. Jackson puts a comical amount of effort into explaining her error, but Cunk just isn't having it. She thinks he's being condescending and mansplaining to her, forcing him to chat solely about onions, not the real Union. Every single Jackson interview is worth a watch, but we find this one the most patronising.
What exactly was it? If you don't know, it's okay to say. I won't judge you.
Well, if you want to talk about sort of Russian Soviet vegetables, we can.
Number 7. King Arthur.
King Arthur came a lot, didn't he?
I think you mean that he's associated with the court of Camelot.
Another Cunk tactic we love is when she brings up something hilariously inappropriate, making a researcher clearly uncomfortable.
King Arthur came a lot.
Camelot.
Camelot?
Yeah, it's his court, where he held court.
One of the most memorable examples came from her time with medieval historian Laura Ashe. Cunk is clearly confused about the implications of the name Camelot, and after having her error explained, she doubles down, resulting in one of the most stunned looks in TV history from Ashe.
But do we know if he came a lot? Or, just the same as an average man? About a tablespoon?
The only evidence I have in that regard is that he is said to have had one child.
While the interaction looks painful for her, Ashe has been interviewed by her on a few occasions, implying she must have had fun with the ridiculous questions Cunk bombarded her with.
Right. So probably not.
Probably not.
Number 6. Gravity.
What was the world like before Isaac Newton discovered gravity? Was everything just floating up to the sky?
The way Philomena Cunk intentionally misunderstands basic concepts is comedy gold. And then it gets even funnier when she sticks to her guns, refusing to understand her error. One of the greatest examples comes from when she interviewed Dr. Shini Samara about gravity.
Would you say the best example of gravity today is the game show Tipping Point? Because without gravity that wouldn't work, would it?
For sure. But I wouldn't say it's the best example of gravity.
The mechanical engineer responds with some of the most bemused expressions Cunk has ever worked out of an interviewee. It's impressive that she manages to keep up with genuine answers, as most of her questions were made to bemuse her. Another funny moment between this pair was when Cunk compared legendary Victorian engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel to Nick Knowles from DIY SOS.
I thought you meant what's the best game show version of Gravity?
Oh.
Deal or no deal?
That doesn't really use gravity.
Well, I thought you said everything uses gravity.
Number 5. Elvis Stroke.
Why was it so dangerous to show Elvis from the waist down? Was he naked underneath like a pervert on a Zoom call?
Cunk's questions are so stupid that they rarely fail to crack us up. Sometimes the interviewees end up finding them amusing too, but Cunk isn't happy when this happens. Here we see her interviewing Dr. Ruth Adams about Elvis, asking her questions so outlandish that Adams breaks.
People were prudish back then, weren't they? If they saw his penis, they'd probably have a stroke, wouldn't they?
Probably. I don't think that would have made it onto the media. Oh, God.
That's not a joke. What's funny about that?
Cunk doesn't hesitate to criticise Adams for her perceived lack of sensitivity, but the look on Adams' face implies she's not taking her too seriously. So far, Adams has appeared in 3 separate Cunk productions, so she must enjoy her time with the Mancunian immensely.
If they saw his penis, they'd have a stroke. That's no laughing matter. We're talking about people's lives here.
Number 4. Beyonce.
Which was more culturally significant, the Renaissance or Single Ladies by Beyonce?
They both had their period.
Another beloved Cunk tactic of ours is when she asks questions with clear-cut answers, then when she gets the expected response, she flips it on its head and makes them look a fool. One side-spitting example was when discussing whether Beyonce was more influential than the Renaissance.
Beyonce I'm rather fond of, but what the Renaissance was trying to do was to reform culture as a whole, and whatever Beyonce does, I don't think she's quite got that ambition.
She's expecting them to say the Renaissance, which results in a scathing conclusion to the interview. It gets funnier when you learn Beyonce released an album called Renaissance a few months prior, implying she's confused a decades-long historical period with an American pop record.
So, what, the work of a few straight white men just blows Beyonce out of the water? Is that what you're saying, on camera?
Number 3. Greg Dart.
If Shelley's one of the greatest poets in English literature, how come nobody gives a about him today?
That's a complicated question.
Professor Gregory Dart specialises in English at UCL, meaning you can expect him to know loads about poets. Cunk put his affection for our bards to great lengths, asking him one of the most blunt questions ever. Dart seems to be easy pickings for Cunk, as every time they're in the same room together turns into quality television.
So he's saying that we killed him?
In effect.
But I wasn't even born.
No, yeah.
Nature can f*** off.
That's probably because of how calmly he responds to her, but his confused expressions tell us how he truly feels. Aside from their brief romantics discussion, the time when Cunk compared Jane Austen to Mr. Men is another top-tier TV moment.
Why do they keep making Jane Austen's books into films and TV shows? There's only about 5 of them, isn't there? Whereas, there's 50 Mr. Men books and they haven't done all of those yet.
Number 2. Brian Cox.
I'm trying to help you out here. I'm trying to, make it even slightly more interesting than it is.
It's obvious that Cunk's personality is a parody of Brian Cox, primarily on account of her manner of speaking. The whole time they're in the same room together, you can see Cox doing his best to keep a friendly face, but we can tell on the inside he's screaming.
Do mirrors run on quantum physics?
Run?
Yeah.
As in?
Well, according to quantum physics, mirrors shouldn't work. They're a miracle.
That's not correct.
We've only seen them together for a few minutes, but we'd love to watch the complete unedited interviews. Every second they're together is iconic, but one of our favourite moments was when Cunk went off on a tangent about her mate Paul, prompting Cox to break his friendly persona.
How many infinite multiverses are there?
If there were an infinite number of multiverses, then the number of multiverses would be infinite.
See, I think there's two. Ours and the one in Mirrors.
Number 1. Van Gogh.
What the f*** is this?
During his life, the Dutch painter Van Gogh failed to find fame for his artwork. Now he's considered one of the greatest artists in history, meaning his fans get quite upset if you say he's rubbish.
At first glance, it's a simple rural scene, but look closer and you'll see it's actually very badly made.
Cunk decided to go to an art expert, then absolutely rip into a Van Gogh painting right in front of him, resulting in one of the most appalled expressions of Cunk's career.
Looking at this, it's hard to believe Van Gogh had actually even seen a crow, or a wheat field, or even held a brush before.
The majority of her brutal ramblings about art are top quality, like her discussion about The Scream by Edward Munch, a few minutes earlier in the documentary.
Van Gogh's life, and by extension our world, would have been improved if he'd never painted anything. Not even a bog door in a home for the blind. Anyway, that's my view. What do you think?
Do you have a favourite savage Philomena Cunk moment? And did it make it onto our list today? Let us know down in the comments below.